Money when you get your first child. What would your life be like today if your parents had done that for you? Think about it. Where would you be today if your parents had set up something like what I'm about to share with you? Where would your life be today? My name is Odetta King. I am Guyanese born. Shout out to a couple of you. I see my clients are on. Shout out to Abby in Florida. Shout out to Simone in Georgia, and the rest of you in Brooklyn, New York. Guys, if our parents knew what I just shared with you, how would your life turn out to be today? I can only speak from my personal experience. Coming from Guyana at 21 years old, there was no money for college. In fact, my parents never even told me, hey, do you want to go to college? If you want to go, we got you. When I was ready to buy my first house, there was no, how much do you need? Do you need help with your down payment? I got you. When my brother was ready to go to college, he couldn't go. I'm the only one in my family that went to college because I had it in me. I made a way. I was determined. I worked 2-3 jobs and I put myself through college. I'm not blaming my parents by any means necessary. They did the best with what they knew. When it was time for my brother to go to college, he wanted to go. But guess what? There was no money there for him. And as a result, he signed up to the army. Was that what he wanted to do? No. He went there because there was no other way. There was no other choice. Did he do okay? He did okay, but he could have done better. To this very date, my brother, Odiri, is in his 40s and a regret. Because life happens. One thing led to the next, and he just never made his way to college. So, I'm going to ask you again. When you were born, if your parents had mapped out everything for you, from money for college, money for your first down payment on your house, money when you get your first kid, money to buy your first car, money if you wanted to start a business. Again, I'm going to preference myself. When I started my first business, loved my parents, but never got $1 from them. Not $1. Not because they didn't want to give it to me. They didn't have it and they didn't know better. So you guys, all 32 of you on this call, and those of you, because I'm streaming live on social, you guys have an opportunity to do this for your kids. And although tonight the focus is on kids, make no mistake, what I'm about to share with you is also for adults. So I'm going to open up by playing a video.
Once said, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. So you're ready to start saving for your kids' future. You already understand the power of compound interest over time, so you know the sooner you start, the better. So where should you be saving that money? Let's talk about perhaps the most powerful and least known savings vehicle for kids on the market, Index Universal Life, or IUL. IUL stands out against all other savings vehicles in one main area of strength: flexibility. Other financial vehicles lock you into what you can use your savings on, but an IUL can be a first car, a college education, a down payment on a house, a wedding. IUL cash value can be used however, whenever, and on whatever you choose. Plus, since it's built on a financial chassis of life insurance, your child is instantly covered with hundreds of thousands of dollars of permanent life insurance with living benefits, simply as a side benefit of utilizing IUL as your choice of savings vehicle. Now don't freak out. The fact that it's life insurance is actually a good thing. Life insurance cash value comes with a ton of unique side benefits, like your cash value being protected from market losses, cash value growing tax deferred and being accessible tax free, protection from lawsuits, and IUL cash value is not considered in asset calculations when applying for student loans for college. So, what could one of these policies look like for your kiddo? Let's say you had a baby today, and to take maximum advantage of the power of compound interest over time, you immediately start socking away $100 per month into an IUL. Right away, your child is now covered with $371,000 of permanent life insurance coverage with living benefits. That's a pretty nice little side benefit. And that financial foundation you establish for them today will continue to grow with them over the years and be available throughout their lifetime for whatever they need or want to use it for. Plus, hit 55, they could turn on a tax-free income stream of $75,000 per year that will last them the rest of their lives, no matter how long they live. The point is, they have options. IUL is the most flexible savings vehicle for children on the market, and the best time to plant that seed is today.
The best time to plant that seed is today. So, how many of you have heard about the IUL? Has anybody heard about the IUL? No one? You can put it in the chat. Has anyone ever heard about IUL? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I never knew how to utilize it. But it's been introduced to me before.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay. Well, today you guys are going to learn what the wealthy knew all along. What the Rockefellers, presidents, C-level and A-level executives. This is what we do. We educate our community. Now, when it comes to building a solid financial foundation, most people have no idea what does that even mean. How do you know if your financial house is solid? How do you know if it's built on a solid foundation? Well, financial education has taught us that in order for us to know if your house financially is solid, just like a house, we start from the bottom up. And the bottom starts with protection. What is protection? Well, you're protecting your life. You're protecting your health, because none of us are exempt from diseases attacking our bodies, from getting sick, or even dying prematurely. So we start with ourselves. We have to protect ourselves. But the best time to create a plan for your kids is when they're born.
If you have US dollars in your bank account, pay close attention, because we could be days away from the biggest change to our financial system.
What's going on here.
Years. As a former vice president of a major US investment bank,
we can get sick at any moment. The best time to protect and start an IUL is when they're born. when your kids are born. You see, most kids are born healthy. And God forbid, as they become adults and anything pops up in their medical history, you're already protected. My nephew is 21. My nephew is 18. I have a couple of nieces and nephews. And thank God they're all healthy right now. But who's to say a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, something doesn't happen to their health? But guess what? They already have their IUL. Their life and health is protected. So we have to start with us, the individual. We have to protect ourselves first. And again, what are we protecting ourselves from? Life is going to happen, guys. We're going to get sick. And then, of course, life is going to happen. And some of us might have dead prematurely. And some of us might live into ripe old age. And that's wonderful. So the best time to start an IUL is yesterday. The minute your kids are born, 14 days old, and you have that Social Security, you want to get them going with saving in IUL. Lock in that rate while they're young, while they're healthy. Because you see, as the kids grow, they're going to incur the second phase of building a solid financial foundation. And that is debt. Debt is going to run into them whether they're prepared or not. The first major debt they're going to incur is student loans. And if you've been paying attention to what's been happening just last week with the student loan debt, some people are upset. They're upset that it wasn't passed. They're upset that their student loan is not going to be forgiven. But should we be upset at the government? No. So the second phase that we want to protect for our kids' future is debt. So when debt comes across, they are financially prepared. Because student loan is going to suck them in. Credit cards is going to suck them in. Life emergencies is going to suck them in. And they're going to incur debt. And because most people don't save or save enough, they're going to get sucked in. The third layer of a financial foundation is emergency. Again, life is going to happen. There's going to be emergency for the rest of our lives. Some were prepared and some were not prepared for. But you see, when you have an IUL, you are financially prepared for whatever comes your way. I had a client last week who called me. They had an emergency. We got on the phone, called Transamerica, wired $2,500 back to his bank account. Because emergency will happen. They may go to school. They may need extra funds to do something. They may have a car. Something happened with the car. It breaks down. They get into an accident. They need to buy tires. Emergency is going to happen. This is inevitable, guys. And when this happens, as long as you have an IUL, you have emergency funds to pull from. And the fourth layer of having a solid financial foundation is investment. At some point, they're going to get a job. And they're going to get sucked into the 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and whatever our jobs are giving us. Because again, they're going to invest. Or they may want to start a business and they need capital for that investment. Where is that going to come from? Your IUL. So I go back to myself. When I started my first business, my parents didn't have $1 to give me towards the investment. I spent 20 grand just building a website. My brother was, when he was ready to go to college, there was no funds there for him. So guess what? He opted to the Army. That wasn't his first choice. This is how you build a solid financial foundation. And you can only get all 4 of these layers in one strategy. One strategy. No other financial product gives you all 4 of these in one strategy. What is that strategy? Index Universal Life, which we like to call IUL. So when you save money in an IUL, the maximum your money can grow is 13%. What does that mean, Odetta? Well, if the stock market does 7%, you get 7. If the stock market does 4, you get 4. If the stock market does 15, what do we get? What do we get if the stock market does 15?
13.
Absolutely, because 13 is the cap. So I'm going to play devil advocate because I'm going to answer some people's questions throughout this presentation, because you might be thinking it. Well, you might be saying, well, Odetta, why? So if the stock market does higher, why would I put my money here when I could get higher? I'm going to answer it. Everything that goes up must come down. And the stock market is not always up. The stock market is not always up. Go look at your statement. So when the market is down, the insurance company says, you know what? We're going to give you a guarantee of 0.75. We're guaranteeing you that anytime the market is down, we're going to give you 0.75. Everybody else is going to be losing money, but not you. You're not going to lose a dime. In fact, you're going to make money. You're going to make money. When everybody else is losing, you're going to make money. Why? We have a 0.75 guarantee. And in order for us to get that 0.75 guarantee, what has to happen, people? What has to happen in order for us to get 0.75? What has to happen?
Stock market has to be down.
Right.
Exactly. The market has to be down. When the market is negative, we get 0.75. So you're never losing money, right? On top of it, the money that you're saving in this account, your IUL, is tax-free at any age. So I just give you guys some example of all the different milestones that's going to happen to these kids' life. They're going to want to go to college. They're going to want to buy a car. They may get married. They may have their first kid. So many things is going to happen. Emergency, you name it. You can access that money at any age, tax-free. Tax-free. You can access that money. And the fourth benefit, protection. You are protecting your little one's life while they are young and healthy. Because you see, with kids under the age of 18, there is no medical. As long as the kids are healthy, there are no medical. That's the best time to get them covered. That's the best time to lock it in. No medical. Now, once you turn 18, they're going to be pulling your medical. They're going to want you to do a medical, right? But under 18, absolutely no medical. Your child just have to be healthy. So I know some of you may be saying, well, Odetta, I already have something for my child. And I commend you. I applaud you. That's great that you started saving for your child. But it's not only about saving money. It's about saving money smart. What do I mean by smart? Tax-free, smart. Higher interest, smart. Never losing money, smart. Having a higher interest than what the banks are giving you, smart. Right? So, this is a 20-year look back of someone who, let's say, some of you may have a 529 already set up for your kids. And I'm going to tell you right now, after we end this call, make sure you call us ASAP. If you have a 529, make sure you call us ASAP. And you're going to see why. Let's say you were saving money in a 529. In the last 20 years, the stock market, on average, if you're doing S&P 500, which is the US economy, the market has averaged out 7.62%. So that's good. Odetta, I grew my money. Absolutely, you grew your money. But guess what? If you had it in an IUL, it's 8.15%. Not only you would have gotten more money, but you also had all of those other benefits I mentioned. Life insurance, tax-free money, locking your kids' rate at a younger age. I spoke with a client last week, and it's amazing that he showed me a policy when he opened in his early 20s. Today he's in his 30s. The cost of insurance in his early 20s, you can't get that today. You cannot get that today. Very few I come across families that have a policy. And when I ask them how much they're paying, depending on if they've had it for 15, 10, 20 years, the cost of insurance then to now, you can't get those prices today. So you see, when you lock it in for your kids at an earlier age, you're saving money right there too. Now, for those of you that have a 529, here's why you're going to want to cancel it. Well, not cancel, but here's why you're going to want to call us. Here's why you're going to want to stop funding it ASAP. A 529 is a college saving plan. And I'm just going to pick maybe 2 or 3 against an IUL. Number one, let's talk about the elephant in the room. It is only for college. It is only for college. Today, kids are entrepreneurial. Today, kids realize that you don't have to go to college to be successful. No longer are the days where we're telling our kids, you have to go to college. This is the only way out. Absolutely not. 529, it's only for college. IUL, used for anything. They don't want to go to college? Great. What you want to do, son? You want to start a business? What do you want to do? I got you. Now, let's say they do want to go to college. And again, I'm only going to pick 2 or 3. Let's say they do want to go to college. Well, again, is it smart saving in a 529? Not after today when you learn this. Here's a big one, y'all. Can somebody read this? What did I just highlight? Can somebody read it?
Assets weigh against you towards FAFSA scholarships and grants.
Thank you. So let's say they do want to go to college, and that's great. Now, what happens? Us, at the college level and university, your application is going to get put in a different file. Because to us, faculty, you got money. And because you got money, we ain't going to give you no money. Because you got money, we ain't gonna give you no money. You know why? Because you got money. And they're gonna take your application and put it in a second drawer. And then they're gonna pick up my nieces and nephew application. And they're gonna get the grants and the scholarships and the free money. Why? Because they don't have a 529. On paper, they're broke. They don't have anything in their names. They don't have a bank account. They don't have a 529. They don't have a brokerage account. They have nothing. So on paper, you're clean. How much do you need? Let's look at your application. At my university where I teach, it appalls me every semester. I teach at one of the most prestigious universities in New York. And 90% of my students gets free money. In fact, one of them told me the only reason why they accepted my university is because they got huge grant. And I said, well, what does your parents do? They got money. They got money. But obviously, they know what we teach you guys. So, I'm not telling you not to save. I'm telling you to save smart. Because when you have money in a 529 and bank accounts, it's going to hurt you. It's going to count against you. And one, disqualify you from getting free money or getting less money. IUL assets do not weigh against FAFSA, scholarship, or grants. They don't even see this. They don't even see this. So there's nothing to answer. There's no questions to answer. You don't have to disclose it. 529, it's there. It's right there waiting for you to check it off. And the minute you check it off, your application goes on a different desk. They'll want to know how much, and they're going to recalculate your amount. How much you're going to get for college, if you're going to get any. But now let's talk about a third point. When the stock market goes down, what happens to your 529? So imagine your kids were scheduled to go to college in the year 2020. What happened in the year 2020? What happened in the year 2020?
Pandemic happened.
COVID.
Stock market went down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
40%.
Business closed down.
Right?
People lost jobs.
Yeah, 40%, guys. 40%. So if you had 100,000 in your 529 for your son or daughter to go to school, September 2020, your 100,000 is now down to 60,000. 40%. But what if you had it in an IUL? It's still there. You got your 100,000 plus 0.75. Because anytime it's a negative, we get 0.75. So those are just the 3 big points that I'm going to pull out, because we don't have long to go over every point. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not about saving money, guys. It's about saving money smart. It's about leveraging your money where you could have more. You see, when I sit with the clients, it's to show them how to have more. Because are costs of living going up or down? Is college costs going to go up or down in the future? No, it's going to go up. So we've got to be looking at ways to earn more, to have our money work for us and give us more. Now, earlier I said, this plan is not just only for kids. And I'm going to point out some of the plans against what your job are giving you with an IUL. Some of you may have great careers. You're probably getting a 401k, a 403b, an IRA, a TSP. But guess what? It's the same thing. It's the same principle. Stock market risk. You could have 100,000 in your 401k. How much did you have in 2020? How much will you have when you're ready to retire? You don't know. Stock market risk. You cannot control it. With an IUL, guaranteed no loss. This is a contract agreement. Guarantee no loss. Again, only one vehicle can do this, and it's the IUL. Let's say you are doing good with your 401k. Guess what? You cannot touch this money prior to 59 and a half. Isn't that something? Your own money, they put in restriction on. You cannot touch it prior to 59 and a half. And if you do, which most people do, that's when they find out a whopping 10% penalty for touching your own money. Is that fair? For touching your own money, you get penalized 10%. Here's another big one. It said 72, but they just changed the age to 73. RMD, required minimum distribution. What does that mean, Odetta? Well, when you are 73, because they just changed the age this year, Uncle Sam is going to penalize you 50% if you don't touch money from your 401k, 403b, IRA, etc. Why? He wants to tax that money. Isn't that something? He wants to tax that money. He didn't want to tax it in the beginning when it was little. He wants to tax it when it's bigger, when it's harvest. And if you don't touch it by 73, 50% penalty. But let's say you do touch it before 73. You're like, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'm going to be good. I'm going to need to touch my money way before 73. Okay? When you die, he got you here again. Before a penny goes to your ear, before a penny goes to your husband, your wife, your sister, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, your kid, your grandkids, whoever, death benefit taxable to beneficiaries. So how much you really leaving? How much you leaving behind? If you do not know how much is going to get taxed, how much you really leaving behind? You don't know. That money's going to get taxed before it even goes to your beneficiary. Whereas your IUL, tax-free death benefit. You got $1 million policy, $500,000 policy, whatever it is, 100% of it tax-free. All of it goes to your beneficiary. And here's another big one, y'all. It can be altered by changes in the law. So you think you're good? You think you're good because you got a 401k, IRA, 457, 403b, and all that stuff. You think you're good? You just never know. The government can change the law at any given notice. Your job can even change. Your job can decide, you know what? We're not going to offer a 401k anymore. Or we're not going to match a 401k anymore. Or the law could change. Whatever the government says. You're at the mercy of others. You're not in control of your future. You're not in control of your future. You're at the mercy of others. Because if the law change, it affects your 401k. If your job decides, you know what, business is not good, we're cutting costs, we're no longer going to offer 401k, again, you on your own. Or we're offering it, but we're not going to match, again, you on your own. You're not controlling your future like that. IUL cannot be altered by changes in the law. So who cares? Who cares who's the president? Who cares what tax law they make? Who cares if the stock market crash? Who cares? You're in control of your future. So although this webinar is for kids, we're showing you that the same plan is for adults. Because at the end of the day, make no mistake, we all need to save more money. We need to grow that money. Make sure that money is protected. Make sure it is tax-free, and all the other slew of benefits, which I'm only touching on a few today. So let's talk about what would one of this look like for your kids. I stated before, the minute your kids are born, right? My girlfriend just gave birth to a beautiful bouncing baby girl. She's not even 1 month old. And I say, Caress, the minute you get her social, you better call me, girl. She's like, I know that, I got you. The minute I get her social, I'm calling you. We're getting her an IUL because I was late in the game, but I'm going to make sure she okay, right? So now we got a juvenile, 0 years old, not even 1. Playground millionaire. Title of this webinar, Playground Millionaire. We're showing you how to set your kids up to be playground millionaire. Now, mom and dad are contributing $383 a month. Let's say $384. That's about $10 a day. Can you do less? Absolutely. $5 a day. Minimum $5 a day. What is $5 a day? $155 per month. Started minimum with $5 a day. But the more you put, the more you have access to. So here's somebody put in $384 and they were putting it in their job retirement account. And I said, no, honey. Now that you know better, we're going to do better. So follow the cursor, right? This is the child age, is first column. This is the years, the number of years they have the account. The premium outlay is how much money we're contributing every year. 4604, if you divide it by 12, that's 384, right? So in 5 years, when this child is 5 years old, we contributed 23,000 cumulative premium right here. We contributed a total of 23. The policy value is how much we have in the value of the account. And the cash surrender is how much we can touch, how much we can access, how much we can take out. 21. Now, how many 5-year-old do you guys know have $21,000? How many 5-year-old? How many 5-year-old do you know have $21,000? Listen, I don't know. I don't think no 5-year-old has 21,000 anything. 21,000 marbles, 21,000 cards, 21,000 toys, 21,000 nothing. Okay, I don't know. Maybe you know somebody like that. A 5-year-old that has 21,000. Now, when this child is 10 years old, right? We put in a total of 46 right here, cumulative premium. We've contributed 46 total. Again, we have access to 53. So I'm going to play devil advocates because I hear the questions. And somebody may tell me, Odetta, but isn't the cost of insurance higher as you live longer? Well, you tell me. You tell me. If you put in 46,000 and it grew to 54 and you can touch 53, what is the cost of insurance? For the folks who like to say, well, Odetta, the longer I keep my policy, isn't my cost of insurance going to increase? Somebody told me it's going to increase. So can somebody shed some light here? You put in 46, it grew to 54, and you have access to 53,000. What is the cost of insurance? Are you even paying for insurance? Are we paying for insurance? Is insurance expensive? Is it cheap? Is it not? Talk to me, people. What's going on here?
It sounds like your money is paying for your insurance, money that's growing in your account.
Yep. So you're not paying for it. At this point, it's really free, right? And let's continue. It gets even better. So let's say this child now they're done with college because their parents listened to us. They applied for FAFSA. They got all the free money they could have gotten away with because they hid the money in IUL. And now they're done with college. And if they have to pay anything, they take the money out from their cash value IUL to pay any difference they have to pay for school, right? So at 20 years old, again, we contributed 92. It grew to 155,000, and we have access to 155,000. How many 20 years old do we know have 155,000? How many? I don't know. I don't know, people. Maybe I just know the wrong people. Maybe you guys know people who have these kind of accounts with this type of money. So the beauty is this: the longer you keep this policy, it gets better. You can never get this with a 401k. You can never get this with a 529. You can goddamn never get this with a bank account. At 25-year-old, this child, again, we contributed, mom and dad, or mom or dad, we contributed a total of 112,000. It grew to 230,000. But we only put in 112 of that. Yeah, that's the magic of compound interest. Plus, yes, thanks for saying that. Plus, you had life insurance from birth. Your whole 25 years, you had life insurance. Your life was protected. We don't want to think that of our kids, but hey, I've had a client that passed away at 9 years old. It doesn't happen often, you know. My home country again, an orphanage. The whole orphanage was just burned down with about 26 girls, minors. Accident happened, right? But we're not going to focus on the debt. We're focusing on protecting our kids, setting them up for future. So the whole time we had life insurance, and because we locked it in at a very young age, that cost of insurance is nothing. Now at 25, we have 230,000 tax free. Now, if my parents had done this for me, I turned out pretty okay. This could have been their retirement right now. That's the beauty, people. Understand, you may start this for your kids, but this can also help you because you are the owner of the account. This is your money. You don't have to give it to your kids, but hey, if you want to help them, you give them some money. You don't want to help them because they're not doing the right thing. They want to smoke, hang out, party, do hookah, not do whatever you want them to do. You ain't got to get them a dime. Now this turns back to be extra money for you, mom and dad. So I say this all the time. My parents had a pretty okay job. They saved a lot, but they saved in the wrong places. Today, they don't even have 100,000 anywhere, not even 50,000 anywhere. If they had set up a plan like this for me, this could have turned back and be their retirement funds to help them in their retirement years. And after all, it's their money. I can't be mad with them. They saved it, right? And along the way, it would have helped me with buying my first house, paying off for college, and all the other stuff. So it gets better, guys. The longer you keep these policies, this is not just a policy that you get it for burial and that's it. IUL, people don't get IUL for burial. Make no mistake, this is not your grandma, great-great-great-grandma burial policy. At the age of 26, do you see all these zeros? What does this mean? We stop funding the account. We stop funding the account. No more money, we are funding this account. But it keeps growing. 245, 260, 276, 293, 311. There is money here for every milestone. They're ready to get married, you could break them off some money. They want to go on their honeymoon, you could bring them off some money. They need some money for a down payment of their house, you could break them off with some money. They want to start a business, you could break them off with some money. The conversation is different, people. Because now when your kids come to you, it's like, okay, son, how much do you need? Okay, daughter, how much do you need? It's how much do you need as opposed to other things. The conversation is different. How much do you need? So not only that we started saving from birth, but we're mapping out their entire life even after they're gone. Because I'm going to fast forward to retirement age. Now, at the age of 50 years old, this child is a playground millionaire. 50 years old, they are a tax-free millionaire. Again, how much did we put in? How much did we put in? $112,000. $112,116 we invested over the first 25 years, and it grew to $1 million. This is how much we put in. This is how much it grew to. This is how much we have access to. But wait a minute, Odetta, I only started with 150,000 coverage. Absolutely. We started with 150,000 coverage, but because this is a cash value increasing IUL, what's the death benefit? 1.9. We started with 150. It's 1.9. So if this child passed away in their 50s, this is how much they'll leave behind to their heirs. We're not going to talk about the debts. Let's talk about the fun part. Now we're 65, which, by the way, we don't even need to wait until 65. We could decide we want to retire earlier because we got it like that. Who says retirement is 60 something? You retire when you have enough money. So at 65 years old, they start taking out $125,000 every year. How much did we put in? $112,000, which grew to $2.3 million. And now we're going to take out $125,948 every year for the rest of our life. So if we live up until age 100, we would have taken out a total of $4.422 million. How much did we put in? Let me scroll back up. I gotta keep asking the question. How much did we put in? 112. And if we take out 125 all the way in retirement, if we live until age 100, that's good. We would have taken out 4.4. If we die in our 90s and 80s, we're leaving $1 million behind. If we die at age 91, 2.1. If we die at age, 85, 2.7. We're leaving money behind, not debt. Wealthy people don't leave debt. Wealthy people leave wealth. Wealthy people do not leave debt. Wealthy people leave wealth. So by you setting up this IUL for your kids, you have no idea. This is also going to impact your next generation by default. Because when your kids have their kids and your kids pass on to the afterlife, they're going to leave money. They're going to leave money. I say it all the time. When I die, it's going to be the happiest day for my family. They're not going to cry for long. They're not going to cry for long. In fact, they're going to be thanking me in my grave many, many years. Because I have 3 IUL. Not 1, not 2, 3. So, this is a plan, although the focus is on showing you how you can use this to set it up for your kids. Make no mistake, this is also a plan that you can use for yourself and save your money smarter if you are saving in a 401k, a 403b, IRA, etc., etc. So, I know some of you may have questions. If you have your questions, post them in the chat. I'm going to be addressing questions right now. And I'm going to also say, the person that invited you, they're going to be reaching out to you. The person that invited you, they're going to be reaching out to you. Because if you're saving money for your kids, this is a much better plan. If you're saving money in a 529, you are not in control of your future. For the simple fact, the stock market is going to do what the stock market does best. It's going to go up, you make money. It's going to come down, you lose money. On top of it, when your kids are ready to go off to college, well, we, the faculty, staff, we see you got a 529. So automatically, you got money. You got money. So you literally just disqualify yourself from getting anything. You just disqualify yourself. You just disqualify yourself from getting any free potential money. And schools have a lot of money. I wonder, where does my university get all this money from to be giving out all these grants to students? Like, I'm constantly asking faculty, where are they getting this money from? Like, almost 90% of my students are getting free money. There's a lot of wealthy people in this world. But by you having a 529, you literally just disqualify yourself. And if you have multiple kids, oh boy, you're really hurting yourself. If you have multiple kids, you are really hurting yourself for the 529. Because if both of them want to go to college, I don't know. You're leaving money on the table. You're leaving money on the table. So I'm going to read the questions. How would this be beneficial if you plan to retire within 3 to 5 years? Well, within 3 to 5 years, there's a couple more things that I would need to ask you. So I wouldn't be able to give you a specific question. But what I can tell you is these plans, generally, it's about 10 to 15 years. This is a long-term strategy. So if you're within 3 to 5 years, we would show you another strategy that would allow you to still compound and build money and have money grown. In fact, even better, with what we call a lifetime income. So right now, for folks who are already in retirement or within a 3 to 5, or I would say even max 10 years, if you're scheduled to retire in the next 10 years, you have to get in touch with us. Because IUL is good, but there's other options. Right now, Nationwide, which is on our side, I'm sure you guys know the jingle, right? They have a plan, which is also not an index account, that gives you 20% sign-on bonus just from moving your money from your 401k or wherever it's sitting to Nationwide. You get a 20% sign-on bonus. On top of it, you get 8% compound growth guarantee every year for 10 years. And that's not all. When you're ready to turn on the income, you're going to get paid for life. You're going to get a check for life. So let's say if you roll over 200,000 and the longer you live, you already maxed out your 200,000. As long as you're breathing, even if you're sick, who cares? As long as you're breathing and you're alive, that check is going to come clockwise. Clockwise, it's coming. So Michelle, definitely get in touch so we can show you that strategy since you have 3 to 5 years. Next question. Thank you so much for this. I have been with the business for 5 months and I have been to workshops, conference, and done one-on-one field training. And this was, this is good. And this was the first time it clicked. Wow. Well, thank you for joining, Keisha. I finally got it. The light bulb just came on. Thank you for saying that, Keisha. I'm glad. I'm really glad that it clicked for the first time. So guys, are there any other questions? Let's see. If your child starts at 14 years old, can you take out money for college? How much they would have in compound money? Okay, so Yes, you can take out money if they start at 14 years old. Yes, you can always take money out. However, it's how you fund it. If you put a lot of money, you're going to have a lot of money access, right? So again, we would run numbers for 14 years old and how much are you going to be contributing? Again, guys, when it comes to money, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. It's simple. Even for the banks, the more money you save in your bank account, the more money you'll have access to. So we can design these accounts based on how much you can fund, but the more money you put in, if you know you want to have 100,000 by the time they're 18, 19, 20, we're going to have to put more money in because we're working with a shorter time frame, right? So maybe, I don't know how much you're going to be able to fund. If you're not able to fund a lot, maybe he may not get it in time for college, but as you can see, this is for a lifetime, right? So again, it depends on how much you're going to be funding the account, how aggressive you're going to be funding. I tell people $5 a day, which is $155 a month, right? But again, if your child is 14, you only got 4 years to work with. 18 is college. So within 4 years, it doesn't matter where you put that money. It's not going to do a lot unless you're funding it aggressively. So again, please, who was that? Oh, definitely we need to put more money in if you want to see more money out within a 4-year period. And again, if we don't get to see as much in 4 years because of how we're funding it, like I just showed you guys, it's your entire life you're setting up for them. So maybe there's money there for after college. Maybe there's money there for a house. There's money there for a car. There's money there for a wedding. There's other milestones besides college. And this is why we say the sooner you start, you get a baby, 14 days old, they got that social, we start saving for them. But it's still a very good plan if you're putting in more money to see more money in a shorter time span. Are there penalties for taking out your money? Good question. There are absolutely 100% no penalties, right? No penalties like your 401k, 403b. There are no penalties for taking out the money. If you have 3 kids, do you have to get IUL for all 3? Yes. IUL is individual, right? Because they're gonna underwrite each case per person. So if you have 3 kids, each one of them need to have their own IUL because again, when it comes to life insurance, they look at your health, they look at your age, they look at your, if you're male or female, if you have any health issues, if you don't. So it's individually based. So yes, all 3 of them will have to have their own separate IUL. And again, this is for their own individual self. Because now when your 3 kids become adults, they have their own financial house that's already set up. If my child is already 21 and wouldn't sign, may I still purchase an IUL? Yes, you can. So I get this all the time. In fact, even my 18-year-old and 21-year-old nieces and nephew, sometimes I wish we had done this when they were much younger. Because, you know, when these kids are 21, they feel like, oh, well, you got money for me, I want that money. No, honey, this is my money, okay? Make no mistake, this is my money, okay? So if they're 21, you can be the owner of the policy. And I recommend, even if we have the best kids, you still want to be the owner of the policy. Why? A 21-year-old or a 25-year-old, they're not financially savvy. While you're stacking away that account, they're going to be behind your back pulling it out, right? They don't see the value of these things when they're 18, 21, 25. But I promise you, they're going to thank you when they're in 30s. Right? I tell my nephew, Corey, all the time, don't you ever stop funding this. And if you ever stop funding it, I will know. Because I do this business and I log into your account and I see what's going on, right? And I already made up my mind. If he ever stopped funding it, I'm going to fund it for him. Because he's 18. He doesn't understand. He doesn't see the value. But I know when he's in his 30s, he's going to thank me. He's going to thank me. And it's also going to help me. Because when he's in his 30s and he comes to me and say, hey, auntie, can you help me with XYZ? I'm going to be like, I got you. Let me go into your IUL. Let me go into your IUL. Okay? Let me go into your IUL. Right? conversation is different. So yes, Abby, you definitely can be the owner of your son's account if he's 21. And look at it this way, Abby, it's more money for you because it's your money at the end of the day. And the best part, if they got a job, make them fund it. Make them give you $100 or $150 or whatever they can afford. Make them give you something and you fund the account and you become the owner and you stay in charge of the account. This way they're not